Film Diet Podcast.
And then it's just sequel after sequel after sequel.
There was no character development at all.
Just that on pure technical levels.
There are filmmakers that don't want it just to be an entertainment experience. Hello and welcome to Media Academy Online's Film Diet Podcast. I'm Dana.
And I'm Brandon.
And welcome to our 24th
24
podcast.
Ooh.
We're nearly at 25.
Getting there.
And in light of the Academy nominations, the Academy Award nominations, we're going to talk about a film that we've both recently seen, which is 1917.
1917.
This is one that I went in with not knowing anything. I hadn't even watched the trailer, I don't think, at that stage. I was
That's
just
magical.
like, I'm going to go straight in.
So magical to do
Because,
that.
I don't know, it was just like another war film. I thought, it is what it is. I didn't have to really watch anything. I just kind of expected it to be what it was going to be.
That's exactly how I was kind of feeling last year about it.
Yeah.
Pre-Oscar nom release. And I was like, oh, it's got 10 noms.
Yeah.
Okay. and then my dad like really wanted to see it, and I was like, and it's his 60th birthday, so I was like, oh, let's go see it.
Perfect.
And we both loved it. So
Yeah.
and he is a hard one to please.
Yeah. And this is one where, after you had praised it,
I did.
I thought I'll give it a crack too. So I went and saw it, and I was sitting up in my recliner seat.
Well, I was too.
It's hard to get up off those recliner seats. If
It
anyone
is.
has been to Hoyt's
Yeah.
and used their recliner seats here in Australia, you're falling asleep there. You're comfy, you're not moving. But I was right up and I was sitting up, and everyone was probably thinking, what is this guy doing? But
Yeah, it was tense, suspenseful.
Mhm.
It was yeah, it's what a war movie should be.
so let's start delving into it.
Yeah.
So when it starts, we see these two guys.
Very chilled out,
Mm-hmm.
laying down in the grass
Yeah.
under a tree. Very serene for a moment there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he gets the orders
Yeah.
to go to meet up with one of the commanding officers.
Yeah.
And he's like, pick one man.
Mm-hmm.
So he picks the guy he's sitting with. And it's funny because that guy's got his eyes closed. And he closes his eyes and he's almost like, fuck, don't pick me. Or
Yeah.
it's almost got that sort of feel. I don't know if that's exactly what was going on. I'd have to watch it again.
So it felt, yeah.
But
Yep.
it felt like he was like, oh shit, I just want to chill
leave me.
here.
I just want to.
Yeah, I'm falling asleep, or I just want to relax. Anyway, they go up through the trench. You get this nice. Well, the film is done as if it's one take. I guess we'll get that out of the way.
Given the illusion that it's all a single take,
Yes.
and so there'll be hidden cuts all through it.
Yeah.
But it was beautifully done, and it's been done in films before.
Absolutely.
Birdman did it. It got praised a lot for that film. There's other films similar like it that did that style. But using it in this context, in a war film, was brilliant.
Felt the most appropriate.
Yeah, it really made you felt like you were, a third person going on their journey.
Didn't feel like you were watching a movie.
No.
And that was the beauty of it, because it was like, when after, like, I saw the trailer. Let's just go back for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Just really quick. Saw the trailer and I thought, and they kept saying it's done as if it's one take. Sam Mendes, the director, did the last two James Bonds. He did Skyfall and Spectre. At the beginning of Spectre, he's done that starting. That opening is that idea.
Mhm.
And the camera travels behind like a wall.
Yeah.
And that's where the hidden cut is. And I think that's kind of basically what this film was the whole
Absolutely.
time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was awesome, because that was
Yeah.
probably the best bit in that James Bond film.
It probably would have given him the confidence when he did James Bond. He said, okay, I think I can do this. And now he's a film that suits it really well and will really enhance the tension
Yeah.
and the audience's experience
Yeah.
when watching the film. So,
Getting back to where we're at.
And then it was great. I think it was really great that it is, since it is in this one big scene, this one big shot, we're seeing the full journey all the way through
The trenches.
the trenches. And there's talking, there's banter between the two as they're walking through it, and it kind of you can really feel the length of those trenches when it's just them talking for a long time, avoiding people, trying to get out of their way, squeezing their way
a bit
through.
squashy and
in a film that you could probably just have them turn around the corner and they're already where they need to be. That this was not that. This was walking for a long time, just talking, banter, before they found their way to the next person they had to see.
Yeah. And that was brilliant because I've never had a good sense of, like, you get sprinkles and inklings of it through other films, like other war films, what war is like, or what it's like being a soldier.
Yeah.
And because this one didn't feel like a movie, felt more like a documentary, or not even like a documentary, just felt like you're following these people.
Yeah.
Almost
like
you were the
YouTube.
documentarian.
It's almost like YouTube, where people just, it's like a blog.
Yeah.
Blog.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, it was just like, I was feeling almost a bit uncomfortable because of the conditions they're in.
Yeah.
And I've never, it really got to me in that way.
And it was really interesting that they gave this illusion, they're in the trenches and they created this illusion or persona, or I don't know what the right word is, but they put this tension that anything above where they are now is, that is the real danger. So you can't even put your head up a little bit, They created, and that was really well, and they didn't create that illusion, or whatever you want to call it, by showing you anything. It was all just talk.
Yeah.
And the other thing with the trench, that big long trench shot, is that that was a perfect time for us to get the personality of these characters and understand them better.
Yeah.
And that, especially in a war film, is very, rarely done.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to do because you're straight into the action, and maybe you might learn some of the facts, and they might have cutscenes and all this stuff to explain it. This was just talk. This is just dialogue, learning their people, learning their banter, learning, the quirks of their personality and their backstory, all in that one shot.
And that was the beauty of it too, because like most war films are, they've got so many actors in them and so many characters, and they're jumping around. And like you were saying, this one, you're only following these two. Mm-hmm. So it was immediately, you're just, you're learning these characters and their personalities, and that whole introduction was that. Yeah. And by the end of that scene, you kind of had them sussed out.
Yeah, that's it. And really, at this stage, you're thinking, okay, I'm kind of understanding this. This is like a buddy film. There's these two guys, and they're going to go on this epic journey together, like Lord of the Rings style.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm kind of figuring out what's going on here. But as we go, that'll change. Yeah. Explaining this, but that's kind of trying to suss the film out as you do at any beginning of the film, and that's kind of what you're thinking.
Yeah. I had a big sense of Saving Private Ryan because of the brother thing. That film. Just the idea of, okay, we're setting up the story, and then you go off and you do the mission. This one just felt so much more personable. Yeah. Personal. Yeah. This one felt so much more personal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And like Saving Private Ryan was great when it came out, still is today, but that feels very Hollywood.
Yeah, it is very. Yeah,
it's a very Hollywood film. Then we had like Thin Red Line. I don't know if you've seen that one. Yep. That one's brilliant too. Just another kind of feel for a war film. That one's more like a documentary, or the impact of war on nature. And then there was Apocalypse Now and Platoon and all those Vietnam ones from the 80s, which were great. Let's just skip to more modern warfare. There was Black Hawk Down. Yeah. And a lot of other ones that came out that were set in the Middle East in the year 2000s. Yeah. And then we sort of had a big break from war films for a while.
Yeah. Kind of burnt everyone out, I think. It gave the feeling that everyone was burnt out. I don't think that's true. We're still looking for great story, great story
absolutely.
War films.
Yeah, and spectacle as well. And I'm sure there had been some here and there. I just can't think of them right now.
But Hollywood makes up their mind about something. If it doesn't, they think, they don't want that, and they won't bother making it. Yeah. Of course, we're always down for a good story, no matter what it is. But
and then you had Dunkirk come out.
Yeah,
which was like Christopher Nolan, and that was like, I had almost the same feeling towards Dunkirk as I did with this film going in.
It's a very different direction.
Yeah, very different.
Almost, got all these different stories that interconnect.
But if that Dunkirk film only focused on that one soldier the whole time, that probably would have been so similar to this film in that way, because you don't really see the threat, or the Germans or whoever, the enemy. You don't really see them. You're not focused on sides. It's more down to the people, and just the suspense. I find that I relate those two films, Dunkirk and this one, just on the factor of that it's pure suspense driven.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So,
and then there seems to be more focus on characters.
Yeah.
As well. It's kind of like a new age approach for these sort of films, and it's kind of creating a new wave,
spin on it.
New spin, which is
it's fresh,
it's cool,
very fresh.
And that's the thing with this one, is it felt small, but it felt so big at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, the focus, because it always is this one shot, always on these, you know, central characters. It felt that gave it that feeling of small. But then everything that was happening around
the set pieces were so grand.
It was just so big and so large what was going on.
And so well thought out.
It was a great contradiction there to sort of play.
Yeah, great, what do you call it, like a...
Contrast?
Contrast,
yeah.
yes. It's a great contrast.
Yeah.
You know, they must take them so long to set those shots up.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get everyone in the right positions.
You can't have one person stuff up a line,
God.
The guy might get knocked a little
nudge
bit.
or something.
Especially when, like, the camera... Like, we think about these characters, but imagine the cameraman having to work through that too.
Yeah. The timing and positioning and... Wow. And... just incredible. It's incredible. It's actually, it deserves the 10 nominations in my book. You know, just on wow factor alone.
Yeah.
So they meet up with the officer. They get the mission. They get
and
the
that
mission.
officer was, you know, quite funny. He had his little humour. He's a bit of an asshole, but you know, they just sort of run with it.
And then they get they go into the room, meet the general, played by Colin Firth, who everyone loves, you know, and he's a great actor, and I think they utilize great actors in such a small but potent way, where they're just, you know, they're the assholes, you know, and then they're just so like you feel very belittled by them, you know, because they're so belittling and they're just very disregarding of these two, you know, almost private, what do you call them? They're just like bottom rank, you know, sort of soldiers. And they're very young too. Of course they are. I mean, it's World War One.
Yeah, they would have been 18.
Yeah, just old enough to serve, if not probably.
Yeah,
they
a lot of them fake their age
as well
too. So yeah, that's
to fight. Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like, we would have been so hard back then, being a man at that stage, where you're forced to go.
Go.
Yeah. To go full stop. To go and go. Because, you know, with these, I don't know if World War One was like that, but World War Two, where people are forced, you know, they're saying you have to serve, you have to go and get shot at because we say so.
Yeah.
None of us, you know, in all the drama that we create in society today, there is nothing, you know, that no one would know what it's like to be a man at that time and get told that he has to go and get shot at, and that's something that no one, whoever you are, you know, can try and try and create as much drama around it as it is. Yeah. But that is one thing that we have to commend these people for. Yeah. For actually following through with that.
Yeah. I'm sure with so many people's families, you know, that served, you know, and that we've got that kind of history. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so much to be said about war. Like, I could go on rants all day about it, and I don't want to, because like, it's such a fragile topic.
Absolutely, yeah,
you know, and I don't want to kind of pretend like I know anything about it, because you know,
none of us do. There's so many moving parts and so many pieces and so much politics.
Yeah, exactly, and so many perspectives and reasons for things to happen.
And it's a very human thing to happen.
It is. Wars, I guess. Bottom line is, war and all that's been around since man's been around. Yeah, that's pretty much. So it's just as much a part of us as it is, as much as love is, for example.
That's right. You know, love and war. That's why these words go together so well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just stunning. You know, like, it gets you thinking. This film gets you thinking, because that's what it's doing. It's making you feel like you're there. And all those feelings start coming into play. What would you do if you were there? How would you be feeling? And I just love the way these two characters are bouncing off each other, these actors. Yeah. And George McKay, who's the more experienced one, the one that hasn't got the brother, the other one, the taller guy. He's actually in the new Ned Kelly series coming out, or the new Ned Kelly movie. He's the one playing Ned Kelly. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, now I'm watching that Ned Kelly movie and I'm so excited for it, because I was like, who is this guy? You know, playing Ned Kelly like a week or two ago. And now that I know who it is, I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm rubbing my hands together. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, I can't wait to see, because he just won me over.
So great.
Yeah, with his
Just-
performance. Yeah, really good acting. And Sam Mendes, the director, who I'm such a big fan of over the years, like American Beauty to
Spot on.
Road to Perdition. Loved it. You know, Road to Perdition is such a great film. It's one of my favorite mafia kind of films.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks as well plays a pretty shady character in that, and it's just a great movie. And then he's done the 2 Bond films. Skyfall, obviously better than Spectre. He's great behind the camera, and then once again he's come out with this, and it's a war film, and I was like, Sam Mendes done a war film? Okay, go to see it. Wow. You know, what else is there to be said? I mean, it's classy as, and yeah, good on him. You know, really, really happy about it. But yeah, getting back to it, Colin Firth, he gives the boys the mission, and then they go off to the next part, and it's like, okay, you got to reach the line.
Setting up the computer game.
Yeah. It felt like a Medal of Honor or Call of Duty or something, you know? It's like, this
is
little
your
part.
mission.
Yeah.
Go do it now.
Yeah, go do it. And then you do that bit, and then you get to the next level, and then the next level. I love this part when they get the orders, but then they keep getting like the next person they got to talk to is like, they don't believe them, or they just like override them, or they're like, oh, you know, and it's just always that kind of fight for, you know, even though they've got that piece of paper that states this is their mission and what they should be doing, everyone's just like, oh, you know, it's just funny that the communication back then, there was no mobile phones, there was no walkie-talkies. Yeah. You know, to get a message from one end to the other.
Who's a guy that could get shot at any moment, and then that message wouldn't have gotten there.
How crazy to think about that.
Yeah.
And then, they're going to cross that part, and it's like, okay, you basically go down there, find the dead horses. Yeah. If you get lost in the dark, you'll be able to smell them. You know, that line, I was like, oh, I started actually getting the sense of like decaying, you know, the smell of, oh, it must be that putrid, you know, that, oh man, it makes you think again. You're getting the details of war, you know.
The horses were there and they're stepping over the horses.
Yeah, the corpses.
Yeah.
And then they go into, you know, they get to the part where the Germans are supposed to be. Yeah. And they're not there. They've all bailed.
That's right, and they tip over the ash of the
fire.
The
fire.
Had.
So they weren't gone for too long.
Yeah, because that was still warm. That was still hot. And then it's really interesting to see the difference in architecture, where you've got like the English side,
the trenches,
where it was all of like, it was very rough,
dug out with timber and that,
it was
just
really
holding,
horrible. Yeah, and then you go to the German side, and everything was like immaculate, and perfect, and well made, and there's like. There's signage everywhere and writing, and it was just
it's like they've created their own bloody network of of war. And that made me think again. I was like, oh my god, the amount of lengths they go through for war, you know, is insane.
And that's kind of what you'd expect, they with the German side of things, that's always been trying to create this image and trying to have everything so perfect and trying to make sure like the art of war is, so thought out. That's kind of what comes to mind when I think of like the German side of things. I could be wrong, but that's just kind of the picture that they've got. Yeah,
and I was sort of thinking that, I guess in the back of my head, I'm thinking the Nazis really did go all out. They really did. I don't. Just makes you think. They were the force to be reckoned with. They really were. If there's any, glorified villain in war films, it's always the Nazis that are the ones that are the strongest.
That's right.
They're the most feared and the most aggressive, and probably the coolest looking army.
The cool kids on the block.
Yeah, just because they're so. They like from their uniforms to their gear.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Then like that moment. So continuing the story, when they're walking through, and then they find themselves to their little dorm room where all the bunk beds are. Yeah. And they're like, look what they've got. This is so big. Look at all the space they've got.
And they're basically sleeping in a trench in mud.
It was like the tiniest little room with all these bunk beds all squished together. But to them, that was like amazing.
It was like, wow. Yeah.
So
and then they get to the tripwire.
Yeah.
And they find there's rats in these little sacks.
There's that little picture of like There's
the
that
photo.
really human moment where they had that picture there, and they're like, "Wow, this
sort of
is a real
shows,
person."
and it shows you like, yeah, they actually do have families. They're not just
Yeah.
they're
It's
not
the
just
same thing,
soldiers.
you know,
They're human.
They're walking around with their photos of their loved ones, and then
They're
you know,
fighting for their
it's-
reasons.
It's the exact same on the other side.
Yeah.
You know, you get into the tripwire.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, tripwire."
Yeah.
This is, you know, at this stage. I think before we get to this stage, we should talk about at this stage the mood, the music.
Yeah.
It was like it wasn't really music per se, but it's just this
Mood.
whole mood that was building, and it was like groaning and grumbling, and it's slowly building, and it's there, and you're kind of feeling uneasy, and you're like, "Oh yeah,
You
I
don't
can
know
feel
if
it."
it's going to jump off any minute. You
Yeah,
felt like
that's
anything
right.
could happen.
Mhm.
A sniper, a plane.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
And you're looking for that release in tension. It's just
Yeah,
there, and you're
It's just hanging there. Yeah.
you know.
It's just sitting there waiting to explode.
And then they notice the tripwire and thinking, "Okay, no worries, I've noticed it now, so nothing's
Yeah.
gonna happen." And then the most unlikely of things, a little rat comes along, and they're like, "No, no, no, no!"
Yeah.
Bam!
And I was like, shit, he's dead.
Yeah.
I was like, bang. You know, I was like, no,
Yeah.
he can't be dead.
And at this stage, I should say, so it felt like we're following the brother at this stage.
Yes,
Like, okay, this is
yes.
the brother's story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The younger guy, the one that wasn't experienced, the one that was like, I'm going anyway. You know, trying to tell him basically, no, this is a suicide mission.
Bad idea, yeah, that's
yeah,
it.
Yeah. Yeah, you could really, that's the thing, you could really get the sense of one of them was very inexperienced and the other one was like, he
Yeah.
had been through some shit.
That's right. I mean, they mentioned, you know,
He's
he'd been
ribbon
involved,
or
you
his
know.
medal. And
That's right. So
they
he's done
keep,
stuff.
they don't explain it and they kind of like, and he's like, yeah, I had a medal or whatever. And he's like, you should have held on to that and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think they explain that in sort of, they crumb that out for a bit.
Yeah,
you know?
they do, yeah.
Yeah, so they don't
So one, yeah.
explain it straight away.
That's right. So you got that feeling that, you know, the one guy, the brother, is quite gung-ho and and quite, you know, immature.
Yeah.
In some ways.
And he's cracking jokes and all that sort of
he's just like,
immature
whatever.
jokes, and the other guys is kind of like more.
Yeah, and they painted this picture. They're like, oh, we're going to be going home next week anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, this time next week we'll be eating chicken.
Yeah, we'll
whatever.
be Christmas.
Yeah.
Turkey.
Yeah, turkey. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so continue, and that's it. So he's in the grub. He's
And
in
you're
the.
hearing the. And I'm like, oh shit, find him, get him.
That's it.
You know, and he's frantically moving the rocks, and I'm like, quicker,
Yeah,
come
that's
on.
right. And they find him, and you think, no, he's gone.
He's
He's
gone.
He's not moving.
Yeah, he's limp. He's covered in rocks and debris, and it's just like, how can you survive that? And he lifts him up, and he's just like, stand up,
Yeah.
stand up. You know, and it's the place is crumbling, is falling.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
you got-
everything. So much is going on behind him, and
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
shaking, and
you're like, they're not going to get out of this. Shit. You know, you just like, yeah, suspense to the
Yeah.
max.
So and then he's up, he's awake.
Yeah, he's up, he's awake, and
He's
he
up,
can't
okay.
see though.
He's like, I can't see. He's like, well, we're gonna move anyway. Let's go. Off they go. They got to jump over that little.
That bit, and he's like, just jump, and he's like, I can't see, just jump.
Really good to sort of see that.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you just got to jump anyway. Jumps. Oh, anyway.
Grabs him.
This
they
probably
get
doesn't
out.
sound like anything but dribbled at the moment
Yeah,
to you.
yeah.
But it's just great to sort of. Now we're sort of getting the release of that tension. It's
Yeah.
really, really happening.
Yeah.
He's running through the trench to get out of there.
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to call it, the cave to get out of
Yeah,
there.
the bunker.
Yeah, the
Or
bunker.
Yeah.
And then they finally get their way out. And then
Yeah.
that's when we have our first, ease.
It's a quiet moment.
Just a moment
A
to settle
release
down.
moment. Yeah, and is that the part when they're like looking at the German weapons, like, oh, they destroyed all their weapons.
Yeah.
And there's just like scattered shells everywhere, and
Yeah.
just their armaments, and it's
And the
just,
size, we didn't really see the size of those like shells until they're walking past.
yeah,
Because I sort of shown a shot and you're like, wow, there's a lot going on.
yeah,
But it was kind of like a wide shot, didn't really show scale. And
no
they started walking through and they're like these giant, huge,
shells, massive shells,
giant things.
yeah.
Thing
So it
of these-
shows, yeah, just-
that's the might of the Germans.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
huge.
yeah, and war as well. Just the excess of war, or the it made me think about the construction of all this
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah.
all that sort of thing as well.
And that's the interesting thing, right? Their communication was so primitive that they have to send a message to try and get something through. They have to write a written message to get to the other side. Yet the the weapons they've got are so giant and can do so much damage at the same time. It was so interesting to see. And the guy's like, "Why did you bring me on this? You're an idiot. You brought me on this thing. Why did you have to pick me?"
Yeah.
Having that moment, he's like, "Look, I thought this was gonna be something really easy. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't. Thought it was gonna be just something super easy, just grabbing some food or something." And
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Thought we were just gonna get fed.
Yeah, and that's when they start making their this is slow now. They start making their way through. They're continuing their way through until they find themselves to a house, quiet house, and we better check to make sure no one's there.
It's like a barn.
They've seen a few planes go over. Oh, they're our planes.
So that's right. He keeps pointing it out. Like, yeah. Are they winning? And then he's like, are they winning? Yeah, well, it was 2 against 1.
Yeah.
And then they get to that back barn.
That's right. Yeah, they're sitting in the...
And that plane gets shot down.
Yeah, the German plane.
And I'm thinking, that's coming for him.
Yeah.
As soon as it got shot, I was like, yep, movie movie magic, here we go.
Yeah, that's right. And
I guess if there's any criticism I have against the film, which is not really a criticism, but it's just like convenience.
Yeah.
Because, all that space and their plane happened to go straight at them.
Yeah, and when there's no... Really, they could have had it crash on the field and they could have run after them. It wouldn't have made that much difference.
To be honest, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need 100% realism, like... I don't need you to show me 2 hours of them walking to the crashed down plane.
True. Yeah.
So it's a movie. So run with it. It's for our benefit.
Suspension of disbelief. Let's just continue with it.
Yeah. So the plane
crashes right near where they are. They have to dive.
Yeah.
To get away from it. Then they're like, we better help this.
And that guy's
German
like
guy.
on
He's
fire.
on fire. That's right.
Yeah.
He's on fire. He's like, I gotta get out. Yeah. They help him to get out.
So get in some water.
He's a German guy, so that's fine. But
we should stab him.
So we'll help him.
One of them,
kill him.
We should kill him straight away. And then the younger guy's like, no, get him some water.
That's right. And then we follow the guy getting water. And then as he's filling up his helmet full of water, we hear there's a screaming. And the German guy had stabbed our brother.
Yeah.
And it was like, shit, that's it.
And I'm like, oh, he'll be alright.
Yeah,
he'll be alright.
So we're following this
because I'm thinking he's the main guy.
That's right. This buddy story we're following. We're not going to lose him. That's it. And again, we were very wrong. War is that tragic that we can lose a main character just like that.
There's no heroes in war or whatever.
That's right. It's so sudden, and that's what war is. That is what these. Any sort of murder, anything like this. That's what it is. Someone who has a whole life timeline, a beginning, middle, and end, and it's just like the whole future that they had is ended. That
horrible.
That future is no more.
Yeah.
And that idea is just it's a nightmare. It's heartbreaking. That's a horrible thing to imagine.
That's horror.
It is.
That is horror.
And we're so good at glorifying it in Hollywood. But because we just see so many people die, we're kind of numb to it.
Yeah. Like a Michael Bay film.
Yeah, that's right. But it really, at the end of the day, is a horrible thing.
And it was just like from a stab to the gut, and I was thinking, he's got to be alright. He's going to be alright.
And you could see as they were having banter, like, you're going to be alright, let's get up, come on, you're
stand
right.
Stand up.
And as they were coming to the realization that he's fucked, so were we at the same time.
Man. Yeah, big time. I'm like, oh shit, he's not going to pull through.
And as soon as he was like, oh shit, where am I? Are we getting shot at? Like, whatever it was. Like, you could see his brain was shutting down and was coming up with all sorts of stuff. That's it.
And he was turning real pale.
Yeah, that's right. He was so pale.
I was thinking in the back of my head, that guy in Reservoir Dogs survived a whole film with a bullet in his gut. I'm thinking, I'm thinking, no, he's gonna survive. Because I wanted him to.
Yeah, that's right. And they're like, there's a first aid base just around the corner. We just got to go.
And then the other Americans British guys rock up from the other plane, and one had the red crosses on him.
Yeah,
one of them, and I'm thinking, oh sweet, he's gonna patch him up, and then I just like lift him up and just leave him there.
That was it.
And he's dead. He was gone. I'm thinking, oh fuck.
And that at that stage really sort of changed the sort of perception where the film was going.
Oh, I just sort of
It's like, okay, it's gone from this buddy film where we thought we were following one guy.
Yeah.
It turns out we're following the other guy the whole time.
Yeah. And the other guy now, he's on a mission.
Yeah.
To reach that guy's brother.
Passed the baton onto him and
yeah.
was like, all right, you're going to go finish this journey, please. Do
yeah.
this for me. And the guy's like, I'll do it. Yes.
Yeah. And this is what sort of made that character, sort of snapped him into the mission. Because before that, he was kind of not with it. He was just sort of tagging along because he had to.
And that kind of what gave us the illusion that he was kind of just like a secondary character. Because he wasn't the central...
He wasn't involved.
Yeah, that's right. He was kind of just this guy who was like, nah, or whatever, and we kind of expected him to be the one that was gone. And
yeah.
Even when we saw him get buried, we thought, okay, they're painting this picture that he's the one that's going to be gone.
And I was thinking that whole time until that moment, and then it was just like, oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Now I know. Okay, yeah, okay. And I'm so glad it wasn't spoiled. Like, it's because that doesn't happen much these days, where I'm actually surprised in a film. And like we go from there, and there's some beautiful cinematography by Roger Deakins. That man is just on fire and has been his whole career, I reckon. Yeah. He's just always on point. He's always breaking new ground and showing us such beautiful imagery. And
the task that he had is not a very easy task, where you're filming one shot, or the illusion of one shot the whole time, yet each frame looks amazing.
Yeah.
Well framed, well done. The rehearsing they must have done for this would have been insane.
I can't even like wrap my head around it. How much...
So many moving parts, so much had to go right on both ends.
Yeah.
Behind the camera and in front of the camera. And the amount of detail in each shot, they just have, they might have a corpse in the foreground or something. All these things to give context to what's happening to them.
Yeah, especially that bit prior to the death of the character, when they're walking through that water, around that the puddles, the big, puddle, and the bodies, bodies that were like buried, half buried, and it was just nasty.
That's right.
You're just seeing like glimpses of corpses, and you didn't even need to stay on them. Like, there was no need to overexpose any of it.
You could mute this whole film and it'll still tell you so much just in the cinematography alone.
Yeah.
And that's what we're saying. When we say we're following these people or this one person throughout this film, and it's from their context that we're seeing all this. But everything else that's in the background says so much. So expands the context and the meaning of the film and what war is so much.
Yeah,
becomes that just enhances the power of this film. Yeah,
like even from, say, the barren wastelands of where the war had been taking place, and it's just desolate and it's just horrible looking and apocalyptic.
Yeah.
And then you get to the barn where it's more, where there's a cow and he gets the milk from the bucket, and there's a bit of greenery there. The cherries as well, when it has that little moment about that little character moment for the brother, which comes into it later on as well.
Yeah.
Just really beautiful, and the way that's all shot.
Stunning, yeah.
Yeah. The way that's all falling, the leaves are all falling.
And it really gave a feeling that, like, this recently happened. It's almost like they're just, 1 kilometre away, chopping down the trees and doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
So quickly, and they're almost like a chase going on, even though there's not. You don't want them.
You don't want them to catch up to them. Yeah. It's almost like, how far off are they?
Yeah.
It always feels like they're just a hill or two away.
That's right.
Yeah. They're just out of sight, sort of thing.
And then we run into the battalion of the group of the guys in the trucks.
Of course.
And the tree's fallen, and the guys there just like, you're idiots. Just
that's
move
right.
it.
Yeah, move the tree.
You're incompetent. You're incompetent. Move that tree. It's in the way. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, I could do better than this. What are you doing? And carrying on, like, you always have those people that do that.
The generals or whatever.
Yeah. It's almost like the people on Facebook these days that are leaving comments.
Oh yeah. And then you got Mark Strong.
Yeah,
another good, another well-known actor.
It was great to see all these well-known actors that they just had a little cameos.
Yeah, a little bit.
How they could get them involved with this film, just give them a little bit.
Yeah.
It was insane.
War film. Everyone loves being in war films. It's
that's right.
Every actor's dream.
It was a very English film too, so you see a lot of those English actors in it.
Colin Firth, Benedict, and Mark Strong.
That's it.
There's a few others, but those three are just like your trifecta.
Yeah.
It's solid,
Yeah.
And Mark Strong's been in so much stuff recently. Like,
Mhm.
he's just in so many films.
Yeah.
And it's always good to see him. I always like Mark Strong.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, he's good. He had a good presence. And he felt like
He was.
a nice kind
Yeah,
of...
he did. It's someone you'd have beers with on the weekend.
Yeah,
He
it
was
felt
a very
like,
nice
oh.
guy, and he was looking out for him.
Yeah, and he's like, hop up.
Yeah, hop
in
up.
you go.
And then they carried on for a little bit, and
In
then
that-
stopped. Oh, okay, you're here. Just
Oh, you
cross
get bogged.
Yeah,
They get bogged, yeah. And he's like,
and he's like,
"Push."
move, come on, I
Yeah.
have to do this, I have to do this.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was sort of enhancing the fact that he really wants to achieve this.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
He was mourning the death of his friend, and his way of coping with that is trying to complete the mission
And
for him.
honor the whole thing, and
Yeah.
just to, he wouldn't be able to live with himself if he could not,
Yeah, that's right.
fulfill
didn't-
this.
He had to die for a reason.
Yeah.
And this was the reason, and he had to achieve this. And we could feel it. You could see that in his that acting.
Oh, you just don't whip that out of nowhere. Like, it's, it's not.
And in these large, long takes is
Yeah.
just amazing.
It must be so draining on the actors, to be able to perform that intensely.
Yeah.
This is acting. This is their job. This is their passion. But you really get a sense of how much goes into acting when you see long takes, I suppose.
And it was at this stage I should mention that it was really interesting to see that we had like an Irish guy. There was I think he was Indian, which was it was great to see this. You expect that you just assume that they're always just like all these English people, but this gives you context. You know, other nationalities were involved with this too.
Absolutely,
on both sides.
I mean, every nationality was involved.
That's right. We are all one.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what colour our skin is, or what language we speak, or what our belief system is. At the end of the day, we're all people. Yeah. We all have a heart. That's it.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it. So even just having that little... And he was a nice guy, that Indian guy.
He was so nice.
He was a nice guy.
And no one was treating him different, which is probably how it was as well. And we make a big deal, but that was great.
Yeah. As soon as you're in those scenarios or situations...
Everyone's the same.
Everyone bands together, I suppose.
That's right. You're either on one side B or side A. That's it.
That's it. And so they're in the truck, and then they have to keep going, and he has to jump out at this point. He's like, no, I've got to go to this place. And they're like, all right, well, we're going that way. And
here's your destination.
See you later.
Off you go, through the city.
And he's like, starts walking across that little bridge.
And this city was destroyed at this stage.
Yeah.
It was destroyed, the bridges.
It was decimated,
everyone was out of this city at this stage. It was burning, it was dark, it was gloomy. And then he starts walking across the leftover of what's left over the bridge.
Yeah, it's rail.
And that's when our quiet moment in that film is over.
Yeah.
That's it. We shooting.
Yeah.
Pop,
little
whatever
pop
noise
shots.
is.
Yeah.
And that's, oh shit. That's it. We're feeling it there. And he's diving down and he's getting up and that's it.
I love that bit when he's just clambering across the bridge.
Yeah.
And he's getting the shots at him. And he's just...
he's just so open, in the open.
Yeah, exposed.
To sit and duck.
Yeah, and then he's doing the breathing and psyching himself up to get up and then, take a shot. And then, here we go again, Call of Duty, Medal of Honor thing. And it's like, you're ducking in and out of cover. And I shouldn't be saying it's like a game, but... we've played so many war games.
That's it. Well, that's how society has built war. In the form of computer games.
Yeah. We get to experience it that way, and it's and it's kind of and then he's like, gets that moment, and he keeps popping off at shooting at the building where the sniper guy is, and gets up, walks up the stairs, gets to the spot where he is, and boom.
That's it. And this is our first cut of the film.
Yes.
That's it. To black.
Yeah.
Boom.
Great use of a cut.
Yeah, because we were so used to being no cuts. When there is a cut, that's just...
That was it.
That is highlighting the story in the moment they're
And
at.
I think that's almost the halfway mark of the film.
It is, I think, just about.
Pretty much, yeah. It's almost like the intermission for a split second.
All right. And that breaks, it holds for a little while there, just for us to sit with a cut.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
Yeah. A moment of action,
Yeah.
and then bang. blackness.
Like, did he get shot? Did he not?
Yeah.
Who's dead? Which side's dead? Because all we saw was two people shoot at each other.
Yeah. You didn't see.
Fell, and that was it. It's
Yeah.
like, what's going to happen now? They're going to start following someone else's point of view.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, shit, what's going to happen here?
And then slowly fades back in, and he's got blood on his head, so he's done some damage when he fell.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's okay.
He didn't get shot in the end.
Didn't get
he actually
shot.
just fell back and knocked himself out. Yeah.
And that's when we start probably seeing one of the most beautiful, yet at the most time,
Haunting,
at the same time,
chilling.
haunting.
Yeah.
It was stunning, but
Yeah.
horribly so.
Yeah. And once again, Sam Mendes has done this before in Skyfall.
Mm-hmm.
There's an action scene where Bond fights one of the villains he's after, henchman guy, and they have this big battle in this tower, in this building, and it's like all silhouetted in the dark.
Yeah.
And they have this massive, punch up, and it's all, the lighting's going dark, and it's all, and this is like this outside billboard that's kind of lighting the room, colors and stuff, and there's like mirrors, windows and reflections, and it's all, So I had to, Sam Mendes is like really playing with that shadows and what's exposed and what's
great,
not.
because really what we had, this is all illusion. Obviously, they had proper lights, but it felt like it was lit up by the fire and flares.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah.
Everything else was so rich black. It
Yeah.
was just so thick in the blackness.
Yeah.
And then that was contrasted with the bright of these flares that are
Popping
going
off.
off, and that is creating movement in the lighting as well.
Oh.
Which is just created
another awe-inspiring
element,
aspect. Yeah.
Where there's, and that adds movement into the shot where we're trying to look, is there anyone around?
Yeah.
Because, and we're getting confused because the light's moving and there's all this going on.
It's like a maze. And it's like a maze with all the rubble.
And I think it was in it was in like a cemetery, so there's all these dark moments and...
Actually did remind me of James Bond GoldenEye.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever played that back in the day, but there was a level where you're in the cemetery. Yeah. And it reminded me of that. Just to throw in a bit of lighthearted moment.
Yeah. And I guess this was just runs into different people. Yeah. Firstly, he runs into one guy and he holds his mouth and says, "Don't talk." And then he moves his hand. He's over here.
Oh, that's right. They're having, because it's that drunk guy.
That's right. Yeah, drunk guy's chucking up.
Yeah.
And then that's it. The drunk guy's calling for his mate as he's getting strangled. He's on the ground and they're fighting, and that's all.
And the drunk guy's getting closer and closer, and he's coming over to him, and he's stumbling towards him.
Yeah.
And then he's like strangling that dude on the ground, and then he just gets up and runs.
That's it. And then there's all sorts of people that come out of the woodwork chasing him and shooting him.
It's like, how many Germans were here? It's like crazy.
It's like, you think it's dead, there's no one around.
Yeah.
But then to avoid this, he finds a little small window on the ground.
Oh, and he kicks it open.
In he goes.
Yeah.
And that's when we meet, another person he interacts with, this French lady.
Yeah, with a kid.
With a kid, isn't even her kid.
Yeah, it's in the drawer.
Yeah, that's
the kid in the drawer. Yeah,
and we have she sort of mends his his
head, his head a bit,
his head, wipes it down with some water and stuff. Yeah, and then they have a bit of a chat, and she's like, "Stay," and he's like, "I gotta go."
Yeah, and the
and
mission kicks back in.
That's it. Yeah.
And
he was able to give the milk to the kid. And
that's the payoff there with the milk. So which was cool.
That was great. And then she's like, "Stay."
Yeah.
That sort of moment where he could stay and have a very different.
And he's like just giving up all his food, and he's like, take it all. Yeah. So in other words, he's basically saying, it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
My life is forfeit. I am doing this mission, and I don't care.
He's almost, views himself as that. His life, there's no life after other than this mission, and that he doesn't even see that he's going to exist after this mission.
Yeah. It's basically, I've got to get here for this time. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything else anymore.
Yeah.
And my survival is not paramount.
That's right. That was great. Just the small things that he'd do to paint that picture that he is so singular in this.
Yeah.
It was so perfect.
It's cool.
And
and then the milk.
Milk,
and
it's one of those things that was just like, okay, another Hollywood moment, just like the plane, but it's like, okay, we accept it.
Coincidence, but it all works a part of the...
Yeah, that's right. It's creating, weaving that narrative.
Yeah.
And then when it then kicks in again and he's getting chased, Oh, the woman's like, you got to go down the river.
Yeah,
You go down
that's
the river,
right,
and then
yeah.
anyway, back into it, racing.
Well,
getting shot at.
doesn't he? That's the moment where he sees that guy and they're walking towards each
Yeah,
other.
that's right. And he's just standing there. This guy's walking towards him, and he's just standing there.
He's like, I don't know if he was thinking, is it German or Ally?
Yeah, he might have just been trying to figure out which side he was.
I think he was.
Because all you see is the silhouette of this man, and he's slowly walking towards this other guy, and they're probably both thinking that. Which side is he on?
Yeah, definitely.
They're considering, I don't know, because all
And
they'll
then-
be seeing is his silhouette. And then all of a sudden, the German
chase.
guy starts running, and there's a big chase, and they're shooting, and the other guy drops his gun. And
He's just running now.
He's just running. That's
There's no more fighting. There's nothing. It's just run.
sprinting. It's come on,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
That's it. And then
Falls,
huge jump. He does this huge jump
Yeah.
into the river.
Yeah.
That's it. And the momentum's still going. He's rushing through the river, and
Yeah.
he's sort of struggling. You can tell he's not a very good swimmer. He can't
Yeah,
swim.
yeah.
The rapids are really pushing him, and
Goes down
and
the
then-
waterfall.
That's it, waterfall. And that's it. We're like, oh, is he still alive? Is he still alive?
And then he pops up.
Pops up,
Yeah.
but he's still struggling. Oh.
He's
Really
yeah.
feeling it. And this is all one shot too. We had the camera sort of follow down, look down, bird's eye view
Great.
style.
Great
and then
movement.
pick up again when he gets out. And then he finds himself on a stick. And this comes to a very...
Slow moment.
This is where it starts to slow down. He's holding on to the...
He almost falls asleep for a
he
second
does.
there.
He knocks out. So you're thinking, that's it. He's done.
Yeah.
He's almost given up. And then it's in the water. For a second, he's like...
Yeah.
Chokes in the water.
It's almost like he's that exhausted.
Yeah,
Like
he's
any
like,
split
that's it.
second you lay down.
mentally, physically, that's it.
You'll conk out.
What he has gone through, he's just...
Under that much pressure and all that sort of stuff, within a split second you'll just shut down.
And he had that moment, I'm sure, painting that picture where he's thinking, this could all be over.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know how long this will continue for.
Yeah.
This could all be over. I could just...
Let go. This is pretty peaceful right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
holding
can
on
slip
in
into
the
this
water.
dream.
And
Then bodies.
and then that's it.
Bloated
We start
bodies.
to see the leaves fall down.
A little serene, beautiful, dreamlike moment.
And then, one of the most powerful moments is where you've got the contrast of all those leaves that are falling down, and then he's climbing over the bodies to get out of the water.
Oh.
And he's like, he actually makes noises. It's like,
Yeah. He's really disturbed in the smell and all that
Yeah.
must be, this is what it's painting a picture of. Like bodies that have bloated up because they've been in the water.
That's
and
right.
it's
And
all-
you can see like their mouths were blown up. And it was just,
Oh, man. Nasty.
And that's we're thinking, okay, he's at the end now.
Yeah. How much longer to go now?
we start hearing his voice, a singing voice, and that was a very beautiful voice, very nice moment.
That's
slow
right.
moment.
Yeah.
And the guy's singing a song, and they're all watching, and they're all waiting for they're like the last wave to go.
That's
and they're
right.
waiting.
And he
And
just
this voice
sits
was
down on
kind
the
of-
tree.
That's right. This voice was them trying to calm them all down before the final fight and give them their last little bit of hope.
Yeah, a little bit of hope and
And the guy just drops down and just listens to that voice.
Yeah, it's almost like you're just transfixed by it.
That's right. It's like this is probably the first positive thing that's happened to him
for a while.
for a very long time.
And it's just like, wow.
He can just says, okay, just take it in, like
A bit
small
of soul.
things in life, small
Yeah.
reasons to live.
Yeah. Amidst so much and amongst so much horror.
Yeah, we still got such beautiful things. And then everyone gets up. He's like, what's going on?
Yeah. We're the last wave. We're going in.
Yeah.
We don't all go in at once.
They're all in
we go in
waves.
waves.
Yeah.
And
then he starts bolting. He said, oh no, really? Where do I,
Yeah.
And then that's another one of those long, one of these
scenes.
trench scenes, like the first one that was all just banter, but this one is all
action.
This is all pressure.
Yeah, pressure. Yeah.
We're all looking. There's all these people getting ready to fight, and they're all getting at the trenches, getting ready for that first wave to go off, and then he's got to fight through them and find this person. It's just this long shot of just him. Where do I find this person? And don't talk to me. Where do I find this person? Oh, he's over there. And then it's great.
Just one after another, and you're seeing one guy is like lost it.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone.
Yeah, that's right. He lost.
One dude's going
he's like
AWOL.
crying and
He's completely gone. You're seeing soldiers getting blown up.
Yeah.
For a moment, you're seeing just the sweat on the palms. You're feeling that pressure and that. You're at the front line. This is fucking insane. This moment, and then you're like, and the music's starting to really lift here.
The guy's like, one of the guys said, "Oh, you have to wait for this first wave to get to the guy because we're all about to go."
That's right, yeah.
And then we can't get through because they're all ready to go. That's when we have the iconic scene that they use in all of the marketing material, where they call the whistle for that first lot to go, but he says, "No, I'm gonna run across that battlefield."
Yeah.
And so we've got bombs going off everywhere. He's running into people, and that music at this stage is just pounding at you. It's pounding at you.
Yeah. It's this is like the apex of the film right here.
And I'm gripping the sides of my seat. I'm up at all.
Yeah, I'm like, come on.
And you're thinking, fuck, is he gonna make it?
Yeah.
He's gonna make it. Seriously, when you see this film, if you haven't seen it already, well, I don't know why you're listening because we're giving it away. But my God, this scene.
This is one of those moments, you know. It's like. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, there's already people getting shot at. And he's going to make it in time to save everyone.
Yeah.
And we follow him, and he finally reaches the stage, and people are like, "You're not allowed in. Stay away. He's not allowed in." He's like, "Fuck you, I'm going in." And
gets in there, and then
who do we find? We've got Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Mr. Cumberbatch.
Which is great to see. He's such a powerful guy on screen.
He is, isn't he? He doesn't even need to do anything.
Yeah, and he's like, that's right. He didn't say too much. He's just like, "Leave me alone." He's like, "I've got a message." "No, we're already going in. Leave me alone."
Yeah.
And then finally, he says, "No, please. I've gone on such a long journey.
Yeah.
Trust me. You need to read this letter." And eventually, and that moment, we're still at this stage. This could all be for nothing.
Yeah.
This could have been for nothing. All this guy had to do was say, "Fuck off, get him out of here," and that's it.
Yeah. I felt like it was just about to do that.
That's right. We thought this was it.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those tragic stories.
Yeah,
but
kick
then
in the face.
finally said, "Okay, I'll give it a read." And that's when you saw his face change.
Yeah.
His personality changed.
Yeah. He realised, he's making a mistake.
And that's it. He said, "All right, call it off."
Yeah.
And the guys ran off and was calling, "Call it off." And then they're all coming back.
And that's the funny thing, because he heard earlier in the film, like, I love that line. I can't remember who says it, but he's like, make sure there's witnesses, because
absolutely.
some guys just want the fight.
That's right.
And Mark Strong, how he gives the advice, that, make sure there's witnesses, otherwise, some men just want the fight.
And that was playing in my mind the whole time. I said, "Oh, come on, there has to be someone." Likely, there's a whole
officers
thing.
and that in
there's
there.
There's other around there. However, they could just be yes men.
Yeah. I was thinking that too. I'm thinking, oh, here we go.
Yeah, because they're all just sort of there, just taking orders from him.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of keeping their head down. They're not really
interjecting at all.
Yeah. There was that one guy that was kind of like, "Oh, maybe we should let him talk."
Yeah.
But he was still like, "What should we do?" And then they're all calling the men back at this stage, and they're like, "All right, I've got to find the brother." And then we're on to his second part of the mission. Ticked off the first one.
Yeah. I was like, shit, how's he going to find this guy?
That's right. And we're following him for a few minutes as he's just, all these dead are coming back in.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's going to find a
coming
corpse.
in. There's all these people that are injured. They're getting dragged back down into the trenches after the fight, after they called them all back.
And he hears the voice, doesn't he? It's the voice. Yeah. He hears the voice that sounds like the other guy. Mm-hmm. And it's the brother. Played by Richard Madden. Yeah, it was a pretty powerful moment because they started very cold on each other. Well, he's very cold. You can't get across straight away what you've gone through to get to this point in time to give you this tragic news.
At this moment, it was all about what they don't say. Because there's a bit of, he's sort of like, I was with your brother. And he's, "Oh, where is he? Where is he?" He didn't have to say a thing. Yeah. He knew at that stage, and that was a very powerful moment. Yeah. The acting from both sides was beautiful. Yeah. And then this was a real tearjerker. If you weren't crying at this stage, I don't know, you're not human. Yeah. Because I was, I was definitely feeling it. I was like, oh, goddamn. It was powerful. Very sort of like, that's it. And you could just to witness what it would. Imagine what it would like to find out you've lost a brother, but at the same time you kind of could see that he respects his job so much that he was trying to stay with it and stay professional, and he's sort of like, go get some food, go. You've done good job, and they have another sentimental moment.
Yeah, he finally sort of comes around at the end there, and he's like, "Yep, good on you," sort of thing. He's could tell he was just really relieved, or not relieved, but really
thankful.
Yeah, is the word.
Thankful that he was there and sort of was there, and he said. Then he asks, "Can I write a letter? Can I write a letter to your mum?"
Yeah,
that was a really beautiful moment.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yes,
of course.
you can." Yeah. And then we get the final. I can't say the scene because it's all one continuous scene, but the final part where I guess the realization that he's completed his journey, and throughout all this, he wasn't letting himself think about his life back home.
Yeah, that's right.
He shut that out
completely.
Because if he thinks about that too much, it'll be too heartbreaking to imagine losing that. He's just so central focused.
Yeah.
And we finally get that moment where he can.
He opens up his.
He finds a tree. He sits down in the tree, and we realise there's his family in his book. We've seen his little his little container. Pulls out his photos. Yeah. And we've seen it a few times, but he, through the thick of it, he didn't even consider that part, and he could so totally tell. And that was what was so beautifully done by this directing and the story, painting this whole character where he did shut off so much of himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it is so singular, and then finally he has that moment where he has to almost force himself to switch off that fight or flight mode.
Yeah, yeah.
To just think about, okay, I have a future now. I've got something,
Yeah, yeah.
And then we've got that nice message, and it was like return to us or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And this film says so much. I think this film says more when they're not speaking. Yeah. It's just the visual. It's what they don't say that's the most. It's just so powerful.
So true. It's just one of those powerful.
It's the visuals. It's the music enhancing that all as well.
Yeah. It's a visual feast.
And this film will win awards. This is going to win Academy Awards.
Yeah. What do you predict now? Because we did our little Oscar predictions.
Yeah, we did. And this is kind of showing our lot of naivety.
Lack of research.
Yeah. We're kind of thinking, it'll win a couple. This is a war one. But I think this changes, and maybe we might have to do a few more of these until the Oscars.
Yeah, I think this one's definitely got a big chance for cinematography.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Music.
I understand why it's down for some of the sound and music awards.
Yeah. It's definitely going to get a few of those, if not music and cinematography. Technical awards.
Yeah. I think that's what it's most likely going to win. Cinematography, I think it's got a great chance.
Yeah, Roger Deakins again for the win.
Strong chance.
Yeah. And I think even Sam Mendes for Best Director.
Ones. Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely in the running.
Yeah, for just that achievement alone of having that technique,
using it in a way that just enhances the whole thing.
Yeah, it was
and just the
effective.
subtleties that have been thrown in there in the directing, and the use of different characters with different personalities, and the interaction with those characters, and just the whole. If you wanted to be a director, this is directing 101. There's few films that have this. That tell you so much about directing, and this is one of those.
Top notch, top class, effective. This is what movies are for. Just magic, pure magic.
I can't think of anything to fault it with necessarily.
No.
Because you got to think about this film and its genre. What it does in its genre is very well done. And I guess we'll leave it there. So thanks for listening to this podcast. We've talked about a lot, so many spoilers. So sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was an in-depth kind of discussion about the film. So.
We kind of rushed through what happened. There's so much more what actually happened in the story. We kind of just wanted to get to certain parts of the story. Yeah. But if you haven't watched it, it's a definite watch.
Good stuff.
All right, we'll leave it there.
Thanks for listening.
Everyone.
Adios.